I think people may not understand just how good the Knicks could be in 2025. Let's start off with the two newcomers and talk about how they're going to impact the squad this year. First up, Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns is going to be a game changer for the Knicks this season. I mean, look at what he did last year. He was an absolute beast. In Game 4 of the first round against the Phoenix Suns, he dropped 28 points and grabbed 10 rebounds to help close out the series. That was huge for the Timberwolves. It was their first playoff series win in 20 years. That's the kind of impact player we're getting. Then, in Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Denver Nuggets, Towns showed up big again. He put up 23 points and 12 rebounds to push Minnesota to their first Western Conference Finals in 2 decades. It's just wild to think about how much he contributed to that playoff run. And even though they didn't make it past the Western Conference Finals, Towns kept fighting. In the closeout Game 5 against the Dallas Mavericks, he had another strong showing, 28 points and 12 rebounds, even though the Timberwolves fell short. That's the kind of effort and consistency he's bringing to New York. I'm pumped about it because Towns is coming off a season where he's proven he can perform when it matters most. Now, I know Towns was shocked about being traded, but man, the Knicks are the perfect spot for him. He's from the New York area, so playing at Madison Square Garden means a lot to him. His deep connection to the city, especially because of his mother, makes this more than just basketball. It's personal. And we can't forget Leon Rose, who was his former agent and now runs the Knicks front office, or William Wesley, who's close with Towns from their Kentucky days. There's a real family feel here, and you can tell Towns is going to be comfortable in New York. Plus, the reunion with Thibs is huge. Yeah, things got rocky at the end in Minnesota, but they've patched things up, and now they're both locked in on the same goal. Thibs is all in on bringing Towns to New York, and that's exciting. He's been talking about how much Towns has grown. He's more experienced, he's been through deep playoff runs, and that's going to be invaluable for the Knicks. Thibs even said that Towns has a much better understanding of what it takes now than he did earlier in his career. And that skill set Towns has, so unique. He's a versatile big man who can fit with just about any lineup. The chemistry between them is already there, and I think it's going to translate to some big wins. I'm telling you, Towns is the missing piece for the Knicks to go deep in the playoffs. We saw him help take the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals last season, and in New York, the expectation is even higher. With the team they got, I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks make it all the way to the finals. Towns is bringing playoff experience, a winning mentality, and a hunger to prove himself in the biggest market in basketball. This season's going to be something special, but it wasn't just Towns they added. They also added the dude across the water, Mik Bridges, and I'm so excited about what he's going to bring to the Knicks. Just look at how he performed with the Nets. On April 3rd, he won his first ever NBA Player of the Week honor, and he totally earned it. He led the team to an undefeated week, averaging 33 points, 5.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 1.3 steals. That's insane. He even dropped 42 points on the Atlanta Hawks that week. The guy was unstoppable, and now he's bringing that firepower to New York. What's crazy is how durable he's been. McCall played his 83rd game of the season on April 9th, something only 42 players in NBA history have done. The last guy to pull that off was Josh Smith back in the 2014-2015 season. This guy is a true Iron Man. He's played 392 consecutive games, which is the longest active streak in the NBA. I can't overstate how important that is for the Knicks. A guy who can perform at a high level and be available every single night, that's huge. His durability alone could be the difference between a good season and a great one. And the scoring, Mikal was going off. In December, he put up 42 points against the Orlando Magic. And get this, 26 of those points came in the first quarter alone. That's just ridiculous. And then only a few days later, he scored 30 against the Atlanta Hawks and hit the game-winning shot. That's the type of clutch performer the Knicks have been missing. We've seen how important it is to have someone who can take over late, but it's not just about scoring. Bridges has been to the NBA Finals before, so he knows what it takes to get there. That experience is priceless for the Knicks, especially as we're looking to make a deep playoff run. He's been in those high-pressure moments, and he knows how to handle them. The Knicks have been building something special, and Bridges is the perfect piece to take them to the next level. Honestly, if the Knicks stay healthy, there's no reason they can't make a run at the championship. Bridges has proven he can elevate his game in the playoffs, and I'm confident he'll do it again. He's got the scoring, the defense, and the experience. Plus, his connection with the team is already strong, and that's only going to grow throughout the season. I'm just pumped to see him in a Knicks uniform. He's exactly what they need. An Iron Man who can score, defend, and hit big shots when it matters most. This season's gonna be something special with Mik Bridges on the squad. I truly believe they got a legit shot at going all the way. And those are only the guys they added. What about the ones they already have? Starting with Jaylen Brunson. Jaylen Brunson had an absolutely incredible season last year. He was definitely the heart and soul of the Knicks. He stepped up in a major way, showcasing his skills and proving why he deserves all the hype. It's impossible to talk about the Knicks without diving deep into what Brunson achieved. Let's start with those jaw-dropping performances. Brunson dropped 40-point games like they were nothing. His ability to score when it mattered most was unreal. He had multiple clutch shots that left us all on the edge of our seats. There were times he just willed the team to victory. Remember, he averaged 28.7 points per game and 6.7 assists. That's superstar stuff right there. But what really stands out is his leadership. After the Knicks made some roster changes, everyone was looking at Brunson to take the next step. And boy, did he deliver. Early on, the Knicks struggled a bit, sitting at 13-10, but Brunson wasn't letting that hold him back. He was averaging 24.6 points and 5.7 assists, and quickly silenced all the doubters claiming he couldn't be the top guy. He proved he could step up against the best teams, even when others were doubting him. Then came January, and everything clicked. The Knicks went on a 14-2 run, and Brunson was a huge part of that. His averages shot up to 28.9 points and 7.7 assists during that stretch. He just kept finding ways to score and create for others. It felt like every game was a highlight reel. He was even named an All-Star for the first time, which was so well deserved. And let's not forget, he finished 4th in MVP voting. That's no small feat. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Injuries hit the team hard, especially to key players like Julius Randle and OG. But you know what? Brunson took on the challenge. Like a true warrior, he continued to perform at an elite level, averaging 31.6 points and 7.1 assists the rest of the way. He led the Knicks to their first second seed in over a decade. That's a monumental achievement. Now the playoffs were where Brunson really shined. He was out of this world, averaging 41.8 points and 10.3 assists in the final 4 games of the series was just insane. There was that one game where he dropped 47 points and 10 assists. He was literally unstoppable. Even when faced with adversity, like his foot injury during the Pacers series, he pushed through. And yeah, they had some tough losses, but that doesn't take away from what Brunson accomplished. He showed everyone what he's made of and solidified his place as one of the best point guards in the league. So, as we look ahead to next season, I'm beyond excited. They got a franchise point guard who knows how to lead, score, and perform under pressure. Brunson's play, consistency, and sheer willpower made last season one for the books. And then on top of that, the addition of OG last year, one word, massive. OG was an absolute game changer last season. The Knicks took a big gamble when they traded for him, but wow, did it pay off? Coming in as a former Raptor, he instantly became a crucial piece for the team. Right from his first minutes on the court, OG showed us just how valuable he is. Initially, he had to find his groove, but once he did, it was like watching a new era for the Knicks unfold. OG brought a fresh dynamic to the offense. Instead of the forced shots we sometimes saw from RJ Barrett, OG cut hard, spotted up in the corner, and moved the ball efficiently. He just clicked with Jaylen Brunson, making the offense flow so much better. But let's not forget about his defense. We all knew he was one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, but he really took it up a notch in New York. His versatility was off the charts. OG could guard anyone, literally anyone. He replaced Barrett, who had been struggling defensively, and suddenly the Knicks went from mediocre to one of the best defenses in the league. In January, we saw something magical happen. They beat elite teams like the Timberwolves, Nuggets, and Sixers. The buzz around the team was electric, and fans were beyond excited. OG averaged 15.6 points, 4.6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.8 steals, and 1.1 blocks, while shooting over 50% from the field. He was the best 3-and-D player in the league, hands down. But then injuries hit, and it was such a tough break for both OG and the team. After a spectacular performance in Game 2 of the second round against the Pacers, scoring 28 points, he injured his hamstring. Just when we thought he'd take the Knicks to new heights, he was sidelined. He tried to make a heroic comeback in Game 7, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. It felt like a punch in the gut for every Knicks fan. It was bittersweet though. He was so effective, yet the injuries held him back from truly shining throughout the season. The consensus is clear. OG was everything the Knicks needed. His defensive presence, offensive efficiency, and overall impact transformed this team. If it weren't for those pesky injuries, we could have seen the Knicks go deeper into the playoffs. The hope now is to keep OG healthy and take the Knicks to the next level. I can't wait to see what he does next season, especially on the wing defending alongside Mik Bridges. But the Knicks also have another elite wing defender we seem to forget about often. That's Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride had a breakout season last year, and I'm here for it. Let's talk about how he went from barely getting minutes to becoming a key player for the Knicks. At the start of his career, he was kind of stuck in the shadows. With so many point guards on the roster, like Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brunson, it felt like Deuce was just hanging around as a third or even fourth string option. I mean, he averaged only 3 points and 1 assist in his first 2 seasons. That's not exactly what we were hoping for, but don't get it twisted. Deuce was a star in college, known for his tenacious defense and potential on offense. He really lit it up in the G League, scoring an impressive 27.9 points and 10.3 assists per game. So, when the 2023-24 season rolled around, expectations weren't super high. The first half of the season was pretty rough for him. After 34 games, his numbers were kinda disheartening, but we all saw the potential there. Then came the game-changing trade. When the Knicks dealt quickly for OG Anunoby, Deuce finally got his chance to shine. From that moment on, he stepped up his game, averaging 11.1 points, 2.2 assists, and 2 rebounds, while shooting 45.1% from the field and a whopping 41% from 3. Can you believe that? He really looked like he was finding his groove, and I loved every second of it. His confidence soared. Remember that game against the Cavaliers? Deuce dropped 16 points in a crucial win, stepping up big time after subbing in for an injured Brunson. And let's not forget those 2 29-point games against the Warriors and Raptors. Those performances were electric. He transformed from a guy who barely played into a vital part of a team that secured the number 2 seed. As we headed into the playoffs, the pressure was on, but Deuce didn't shy away from it. He became an X-factor. He was instrumental in slowing down talented guards like Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, he even had a crucial role in setting screens for Brunson during pivotal moments. Yes, he faced some ups and downs in the playoffs, shooting under 40% a couple of times. But let's not overlook the fact that he averaged 11 points in 13 games and was critical in big wins against the Sixers. In fact, his 21-point performance in Game 1 was a game changer, and his 13 points helped the Knicks clinch Game 3. Talk about stepping up when it mattered most. And sure, he struggled in that winner-go-home Game 7, but overall, it was hard not to see his growth. So let's be real, Deuce's 3rd season was a massive success. He took huge strides as a shooter, and anyone who watched him closely knows he's an essential piece of the Knicks rotation. With another offseason of development, who knows what he'll achieve next? If he keeps improving, that 3-year, $13 million deal could become one of the best values in the league. I'm excited to see what's next for Deuce. And then after Deuce, we have the heart and soul of the Knicks, Josh Hart. Josh Hart joined the Knicks just before the 2023 trade deadline, and man, what a game changer he's been. Before arriving in New York, he was bouncing around the league, trying to find his spot as a solid role player. This was his 4th team in just 7 years. People always saw him as that dependable piece in trade packages, but never quite the star. Well, that all changed when he came to the Knicks. From the start, I had a feeling Hart would become a fan favorite. I mean, who doesn't love a player who thrives off the crowd's energy? He's the type of guy who can light up the bench and lead the team when called upon. I knew he was going to be special. And let me tell you, he proved me right. After signing a 4-year, $81 million extension with the Knicks, Hart showed he was worth every penny. He turned into Jaylen Brunson's right-hand man, stepping up big time. Throughout the playoffs, he logged 548 out of a possible 629 minutes. That's some serious commitment. His stats were incredible too, averaging 9.4 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game, and he was just shy of 1 steal per game. Hart redefined the term workhorse. I mean, this guy was all over the court. He even set a career high in offensive rebounds with 1.6 per game. By the end of the season, he'd recorded 6 triple-doubles. Yes, you heard that right, 6. Can you believe it? Before this season, he had never recorded one. And let's not forget that insane game against the Philadelphia 76ers, where he scored 20 points, snagged 19 rebounds, and dished out 10 assists. That performance alone solidified his place as one of the Knicks' key players. During the injuries that plagued the team, Hart became a beacon of hope, proving that he was ready to take on a bigger role. One of the most thrilling moments of the regular season came against the Detroit Pistons on February 26th. The Knicks were trailing with just 30 seconds left, and everyone held their breath. Jaylen Brunson missed a three-pointer, but that's when the magic happened. Hart stripped the ball away, diving into the chaos and making a clutch and one layup with just 2.8 seconds on the clock. That was a heart-pounding moment, and I'll never forget it. Josh Hart has truly embodied the spirit of New York, just like Clyde in the 70s and Starks in the 90s. Hart has become a fan favorite, loved just as much as the team's best players. His gritty, hard-nosed style of play reflects the determination that all New Yorkers share. Plus, he even rocks that signature hairstyle, paying homage to legends like Anthony Mason. Through all the ups and downs this season, even with an abdominal strain during the playoffs, Hart never failed to give his all. He's left his heart and soul on the court every night. His relentless effort and dedication to the Knicks have made him one of the most beloved players in franchise history. Can't wait to see what he does next season. And even with all the trades and everything, there's one guy who is still on the team today, which people seem to forget about: Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson had an incredible start to the season. That's hard to forget. For the first 21 games, he was one of the best defensive centers in the NBA. I mean, he was grabbing an amazing 10.3 rebounds per game, the highest of his career. But wait, there's more. He wasn't just cleaning the glass, he was also averaging nearly 1.5 steals and 1.5 blocks per game. Talk about dominating. He was absolutely terrorizing opposing teams. Can you believe he averaged 5.3 offensive rebounds per game during that stretch? That number led the entire league, and it wasn't just on the court. He showed heart off the court too. Robinson's high school coach, Butch Stockton, faced a tough time when he lost his wife to cancer in September. What did Mitch do? He invited Butch to live with him in New York. This unlikely duo became roommates, and it was such a heartwarming story to follow. But then, disaster struck. On December 8th, Robinson went down with a nasty ankle injury against the Boston Celtics. The initial prognosis wasn't good. He was expected to miss the rest of the season. At that point, the Knicks even filed for a $7.8 million disabled player exception. It felt like a huge setback for him and the team. But then the tides turned. On January 10th, the request was denied. There was optimism about Robinson's return, and he made it back on March 27th. What a comeback. By the time he returned, though, the Knicks looked different. Players like Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett were gone, and Isaiah Hartenstein had really stepped up in the starting role. So when Mitch got back, he had to adjust to a new role. Unfortunately, he struggled to find his rhythm in those last 10 games, averaging only 4.3 points and 4.7 rebounds in about 15 minutes of play. It just didn't feel right, and you could see he was trying to shake off the rust. As the playoffs approached, I was worried. Robinson's timing seemed off, and he was coming off the bench for the first time. Talk about tough luck and what was waiting for him in the playoffs. None other than reigning MVP Joel Embiid. No worries though. Mitch put on a show in Game 1, dominating Embiid and making us all proud. But after a quiet Game 2, things took a turn for the worse. Embiid had one of the dirtiest plays in recent NBA history, and it left Robinson shaken. After missing Game 4, Mitch came back for Games 5 and 6, but didn't look healthy. After trying to give it his all against the Pacers in Game 1, that was pretty much it for him. When healthy, he's an all-NBA rebounder and rim protector. But here's the thing, he's had trouble staying healthy. He's played more than 60 games just once in the last 4 years. Now the Knicks have a big decision to make. Is Robinson expendable, or do they keep their homegrown star in the starting role next to Towns? Or maybe he comes off the bench? It's a good problem to have, but it's definitely a problem. Mitchell Robinson is a great dude and can dominate games at his best, but the best ability is availability, and that's what the front office has to figure out. But besides everyone we talked about so far, there's probably one more guy who's a lock to make the rotation, and that's Precious. Precious had quite the season, and I'm excited to talk about it. This guy's journey in the NBA took a significant turn last year, especially after joining the Knicks in that late December trade. Initially, he was a bit of an afterthought, overshadowed by big names like RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, but he quickly proved he belonged. When Isaiah Hartenstein went down with an injury in the late January, Precious stepped up. He became a crucial player for the Knicks, stepping into a rotation that was missing some serious firepower. His ability to adapt and shine when the team needed him most was nothing short of impressive. Let's talk about those numbers. Precious averaged 7.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 1.1 blocks per game. The 7.2 rebounds would have been a full season career high for him. Plus, he shot over 52% from the field. That's a huge improvement from earlier in his career. This guy's making a real name for himself. The highlight of Precious's season came in a game against the Raptors on January 20th. He dropped 18 points and grabbed 11 rebounds in that game. He was 9 of 10 from the field. That performance was electric and solidified his role on the team. The Madison Square Garden crowd went wild. From that moment on, he averaged over 27 minutes a game for the rest of the season. Talk about making an impact. Defensively, Precious was a beast. He took on challenging assignments, including guarding Joel Embiid during the playoffs. Can you imagine the pressure? But Precious showed he could handle it, rising to the occasion and helping the Knicks maintain their strong defensive reputation in the paint. And let's not forget his instincts on the boards. Precious mentioned that he might not be the tallest player on the floor, but he reads the game like a pro. He has an instinctual ability to anticipate where the ball will bounce, and it shows. His offensive rebounding prowess has been key to the Knicks' success. Coach Tibbs praised his versatility, saying he adds so much to the team. That's exactly what you want from a player. Precious is still young and has room to grow. It's exciting to think about the potential he brings moving forward. As a fan, I can't help but feel optimistic about what's to come. Precious has shown he can be a major contributor. I can't wait to see how he continues to develop and help the Knicks. The energy he brings to the court is contagious. This season proved that when given the opportunity, Precious can rise to the occasion and shine. But besides all these guys, the Knicks added a few more pieces. First, Payne. Cameron Payne's about to be a game changer for the Knicks. He's stepping into the backup point guard role, and I can't wait to see what he brings to the court. Last season, he showcased some impressive skills with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. He averaged 6.2 points and 2.3 assists in just under 15 minutes with the Bucks. Then, with the Sixers, he turned it up a notch, averaging 9.3 points and 3.1 assists while shooting 41.3% from the field. That's solid. What's even more exciting is how Payne can light it up from beyond the arc. He shot an incredible 39.7% from 3 with the Bucks. His shooting efficiency is exactly what the Knicks need off the bench. Plus, he's a smart player who can find his teammates, making those perfect passes to get them in the right spots. And let's not forget his defensive skills. He averaged 1.1 steals per 36 minutes with the Bucks. He can disrupt opposing offenses and add some grit to the team. If Jaylen Brunson ever goes down with an injury, I have no doubt that Payne can step up and keep the offense rolling. He's the kind of player who can come in, spark a run, and get the garden roaring. I'm super excited to see how he fits into the Knicks rotation and helps elevate the team this season. But then they also added TJ Warren. This guy has been in the league for 10 years and has played for teams like the Suns and Pacers. Remember that unforgettable 2019-20 season? He averaged nearly 20 points per game and shot an insane 53.6%. That's the kind of scoring the Knicks need. Sure, he's coming off a tough season with the Minnesota Timberwolves, averaging just 3.7 points. But let's not forget he was dealing with injuries. He's a seasoned vet who knows how to perform when it counts. With the right opportunities, I believe he can bring some serious firepower off the bench. Warren's got the ability to stretch the floor and create his own shot, which makes him a perfect fit with the Knicks' young core. His experience will be crucial, especially during those tight games when we need a spark. Plus, imagine him sharing the court with players like Towns and Jaylen Brunson. The potential is through the roof. I can't wait to see how he impacts the team this season. And they also added Landry Shamet. This guy's known for his sharpshooting skills, averaging 8.7 points and hitting 38% from beyond the arc throughout his career. I mean, who doesn't love a solid shooter, right? With the Knicks aiming to bolster their roster, Shamet could be a great addition, even if he's not a superstar. Sure, some fans are skeptical about his consistency. He's been on 6 different teams in 7 seasons. That's quite the journey. But let's not forget, his ability to stretch the floor could open up opportunities for our main scorers. Imagine getting more space to operate. I can already see defenses scrambling. Now, there are questions about how he'll perform in crunch time during the playoffs. But if he can bring that shooting touch when it matters most, he could be a game changer. This signing is definitely about depth and adding veterans who can shoot. So I'm all in for this move. Let's see if Shamet can finally find a home with the Knicks. All in all, with Karl-Anthony Towns, Jaylen Brunson, Mik Bridges, and OG Anunoby, the Knicks are set for an exciting season ahead. The combination of their skills, versatility, and chemistry has me believing that this could be a special year for New York basketball. It's time to embrace the hype and support our team as they aim for greatness. I can't wait to see how they come together and light up the court. Here's to an unforgettable season ahead. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. I'll be pushing out NBA content every day. Thanks.